In today's video, I will show you everything you need to know about the new Necromancy Runecrafting methods. Depending on how you want to approach this content, it can either be the best skilling moneymaker or the best runecrafting XP rates in the game. And in the end, I'll also show you how you can get the best of both worlds. If you want more high quality RuneScape content, make sure to subscribe. We're closing in on 8,000 subscribers right now. Huge shout out to the channel members, who are a big reason why I can make these videos. And from now on, also huge shout out to the Twitch subscribers. Just earlier this week we got affiliate on Twitch, and so now you can sub on there as well if you like. So if you have Amazon Prime and therefore have access to a free Prime sub, consider going over to Twitch and subbing so you can support the future of this channel. So, Necromancy released and you are now able to use incantations, which don't use the traditional runes, but instead new necromancy runes. These are obtained by using impure essence from rituals and then runecrafting them into the spirit runes, bone runes, flesh runes, and miasma runes. And depending on how you want to approach this runecrafting method, you can get upwards of 50 million GP per hour and over 600,000 XP per hour without boosts. So with that in mind, before we go into the exact methods to achieve those numbers, let's have a look at our setup. As our outfit, we are using the Infinity Ethereal outfit, which is the runecrafting outfit of choice, and its main use here is to allow you to bring 12 more impure essence. Next up we have the Wilderness Sword. This will be used for teleports, but also it is perked up with the Wise 4 perk, allowing us to get slightly more XP for free. We also have an enhanced Excalibur. This can be any weapon though. The real reason we have this because it has the mobile perk, which is very much required if you want to do this method the most efficient way as possible. If you don't have Invention unlocked yet and you don't have access to the mobile perk, you can instead use the Shadow's Grace relic from Archaeology, which can be unlocked at level 67 Archaeology. And then finally, bring the Tome of 2, which is the reward you get from completing the medium City of achievements. And that's it for the gear setup. Not much to it this time around. But you should also have Double Surge and Dive or Bladed Dive for the optimal XP and GP rates. And again, if you're focusing on XP, then these are even more important than if you're mainly focused on GP. Let's have a look at our inventory, which is pretty straightforward this time around. First off, we have one of each of the rune pouches, which will allow us to store more runes within them. Then we have a Power Burst of Sorcery Potion, which every 4th trip or so will allow us to double the runes that we create. Then we have a stack of decorated runecrafting urns, as well as an active one, along with an urn enhancer. These pretty much give us 20% additional XP for free, so unless you really strictly only want GP and don't care about XP at all, these are very much worth bringing. If you do just care about GP though, then it is possible to just remove these 3 items and instead fill the inventory with more impure essence. Let's have a look at the relics you're going to want to use. The main one is Pouch Protector. This one you will want regardless of which method you do. If you're going to do the XP method that I will talk about, then you also will need the Nexus Mod relic. And finally, if you don't have the mobile perk on a weapon or something, then the aforementioned Shadow Grace relic is also very useful. For our familiar, we are using an Abyssal Titan, which really just allows us to take even more essence along for our trips. Let's talk about the methods. There are 3 methods we're going to cover. One will optimize GP per hour, one will optimize the XP per hour, and then one will be the type of method that you will want to use if you want to get all the runes, specifically if you're an Iron Man, for example. Let's start with the thing that is the same across all of the different methods. That's the way you bank. When you bank, the first thing you're going to do is right-click your massive pouch and fill it. Then load your preset, and with this action bar, roll your finger across all of the keybinds, which will instantly fill all of the remaining pouches and outfit with impure essence in a single game tick. Once you've done that, you'll click on the bank once again and reload the preset one last time. With that said, let's jump into the first specific method, which is if you want to focus on GP. So this is what you'll do. First you bank with the way we just described, then you're going to click and make your way towards the altars. Once you reach this point, surge and bladed dive diagonally through the scenery, which will make you end up right about here. Once you've bladed dived here, click towards the portal again, and once your character has turned around into that direction and you no longer have any obstacles in front of you, press surge again to surge once again. At this point, you will just run all the way towards the portal, and once you are in the portal, surge one final time to get to the altar as quickly as possible. Make sure to also use your power burst potion whenever it is available for more runes. Once you crafted the runes, spam your Tome of which will teleport you back towards the bank and the cycle recontinues. In theory, if you do this perfectly, you can get 135 runs in an hour. Personally, the best I ever did was 125, but let's take a more realistic number if you're just starting this, and let's say you have 110 runs, then this will be 50 million GP per hour at current prices. This is assuming you're doing the spirit runes, which at the moment are the highest value, but here you can see the GP you can expect if you do any of the other type of runes if you want a bit more XP. But if it is XP you're looking for specifically, then I've got an even better method for you. So, for the XP method, you need to know one big thing, which is that the Abyss buff actually works. After going through the Abyss, whenever you craft runes next time, you will be getting a buff that lasts a minute, which boosts your XP by 250%. For other runecrafting methods, you can also use the demonic skull to make that even higher, but for this method, that does not work, so do not bring one of those, as it will enter you into PvP in the wilderness. So for this method, there is one big difference. You will start at Edgeville Bank, once again, bank as you normally would, then you're going to run north into the wilderness, towards the Abyss Wizard, teleport through the Abyss, and go through any of the rune portals. Once you do, spam click your Tome of and do the same thing we did in the GP method, to get to the altars as quickly as possible. Once you get to the altar, craft your runes and use the Tome of once again to teleport. Because the thing is, this buff lasts for enough time to craft the runes 3 times. Although it is very strict, and when you're first learning this, you might not be able to get 3 runs in a row. This is why mobile and double surge are extremely important for this method, as without them, you simply won't have the time to do 3 runs, and if you have to go to the Abyss more often, you're losing a lot of XP. Because we lose a bit of time to get the Abyss buff every time after doing 3 runs, we can only get a maximum of about 100 runs to the altar. However, because the XP is boosted so much, the total XP we can get here is well over 600,000 XP per hour, making this the best method in the game. That is assuming we're doing the Miasma runes, which give the highest XP per hour, but the other runes are still decent XP rates and you can see them on screen here. One final huge benefit of this method over the GP method is that you will also be getting magical thread, which you can turn into rune pouches. So if you're an iron who still needs his rune pouches, this is a wonderful method to do. But finally, I promised you one third final method that is especially good if you're an Ironman. And this method completely revolves around the power burst of sorcery potion. You see, if you're an Ironman, obviously you're going to want to get as much XP from your impure essence as possible. And if that is you, the obvious choice is to create as many miasma runes as you possibly can. The thing is, as an iron, you can't buy the other runes, so you'll want to stock up on all of them. So, in this method, we'll be spending less time doing the lower level runes and more time doing the higher level runes, resulting in us still getting all the runes we want, but getting a lot higher XP rates while runecrafting over the long run. In theory, the method is quite simple. Take the rune that you still need that gives the highest XP rate, and take the rune that you need that gives the lowest XP rate. We're going to focus on doing the high XP runes as much as we can, using the Abyss method, giving us a ton of XP, but every time the power burst goes off cooldown, we go to the different altar. So in this example, I am doing Miasma runes and Spirit runes, but I only do Spirit runes when the Power Burst potion is off cooldown. As a result, over a long enough time, this basically means we spend half the time doing the lower level runes, because Power Burst potions don't actually affect XP. Therefore, assuming you need all the runes anyway, it is best to use the Power Burst potions only when you're doing the low XP runes. I should note though, as I mentioned in the specific XP method, it is actually quite tricky to get 3 runs in a single Abyss buff. And doing this method where you're swapping between the altars is even a little bit more tricky, but it is still doable, and I've been able to upkeep it for multiple hours in a row without failing once I got it down. So if you're in Iron and you need all the runes, but you also want as much XP as possible, do this method and combine Miasma runes with Spirit runes, and then once you've got enough of both of those, combine the flesh runes with the bone runes. This way you'll get the most XP out of your essence while still getting all the runes that you need and spending the least amount of time doing so. With that said, I want to thank you all for watching, and once again, huge thanks to the channel members and the Twitch subs. I might be live on Twitch right now as we speak, and again, if you're interested in supporting the channel in that way, you can go drop a Twitch Prime sub.